Hi guys, good evening. Let's wait for a couple of more minutes, people to join. Let me know if you guys hear me. Yeah, thanks for confirming, Yogesh. So, yeah, did anyone faced any issue while installing yesterday's, performing the steps for the installation of the VM? Please let me know in the chat. Did anyone tried installation or uh, any challenges you are facing? Because since it is a practical session, so you must have a working VM. So yeah, so please don't hesitate to like let us know that okay, you are facing issue while connecting to the kitty or any reason can be. So please do reach out to me in mail if so. Okay, so let me show off the mail ID once again. So it will be included in everyday session. Okay, so at least for this demo sessions, it will be included so that you can right away reach out to us and we will assist you. Okay, so like it can be of anything like even the recording if there is any issue. So please do let me know, and the recording will be published to the YouTube channel. Okay, so you can go through that, and yeah, I guess we can start the session. So yeah, once again, hello all. So today would be the demo session once again, and this would be about booting procedure. Okay. So yeah, this is the booting process, and from the time when you turn on the power button, what would happen in the background? And yeah, so this is very important when it comes to a sysadmin. Why? Because you will be in a position to assist or let's say troubleshoot if something goes wrong in either one of these steps. Okay, so you should know at these steps in order to provide your support, right? So that is what we will be seeing today. So the first thing, let me just open a notepad. Okay, so the first thing is you need to understand. Okay, let me open the pane so that it will be easy for me to show you. Okay, so the first thing is, so let's say you click the power button. Okay, so power button of your laptop or PC, anything. Okay, it can be of your PC or your rack server. It can be of anything. But once you click the power button, what would happen, right? So it might not be a technical one. So like generally what would happen in any electric component, right? So it would be doing a post. So what is a post, right? So power on self test. So it will send a small amount of ampere current to the all the components. Okay, so and what or which one would take that one, or let's say, yeah. So motherboard is the one which is like which would have all the components, right? So let me take either any one motherboard, right? So the power would be so power supply would be connected, and yeah. So this is your motherboard's power supply, and this is for your CPU. and yeah, it would send the like small amount of ampere to all the components. Like let's say here the GPU would go in, and yeah, this is your CPU. It would come go, right. So every component it would check whether it is operatable or not, right. So if not, it would be throwing an error, or it would be the procedure or this booting process would be stuck there itself, right. So that is the first thing. And so in your personal computer right away you can troubleshoot and open and do that. But if it comes to a enterprise servers, right, so right away you can't change this. Let's say there is a issue with the dim slots or this RAM sticks, right. So you can't right away change that. So obviously you will have that, but right away you can't change that. So you need to go through a change process, since it is a hardware thing, right? So you need to engage the respective hardware vendor, and much more process is there when it comes to an enterprise, right? So that is the thing. And yeah, so that is the first thing. So the hardware level, what would happen? Okay, so if hardware fails, so it would fail in this first stage itself. So once it is not failing, so if you would go to the next stage here. Okay, so what would be the next stage? So the next one would be your BIOS. So okay, so now the thing is that obviously BIOS is like many would think that BIOS is residing in your hard disk, but it is not. So it would be in the motherboard only. Okay, so it is like your eMMC memory. Okay, so it would be stored in your motherboard, and this is your CMOS battery. Okay, so this is also the one which is powering that. Okay, and some of the components here. So yeah, so let's see the next option, or the next step here is your BIOS. So yeah, this is the one. So BIOS stands for basic input output system. And what would BIOS do, right? So BIOS is the most critical one in your computer. So what it would be having is, it would be the one. Okay, let me show you that. So again, why I'm choosing MSI is, so my personal computer is MSI. Okay, so that is the reason. Yeah, and MSI has a good UI for the BIOS, so it would be very straightforward and easily you can understand it. So yeah. So this is the MSI like gaming motherboard. So the frequency or the speed at which the CPU can, or the threshold of that CPU, okay, and your memory and your storage, every metrics or every components you can see, and even the fan speed and fan info, like whether it is connected or what would be the current speed at which it is running in the real time, it will be showing you. And the very important thing is your boot priority. Okay, so this is what the most important thing, right? So which one should be booted at first? Okay, so that is your boot priority. So that first thing is your component information. So here itself you can see, okay, like let's say your storage is not detected. Here itself you can see that storage, in that storage, let's say you have multiple storage like SSD and hard disk. The secondary storage is not detected. Okay, so here itself it will be showing that, or it won't be showing. Okay, so in that case you might come to a conclusion that okay, it is something wrong in the hardware level, or it might be having a loose cable or something. But yeah, this is the first thing any component should go through. Okay, so that is the thing. So you can see the CPU info, memory, everything, it will be here. Okay, so that is your BIOS thing, and the booting procedure, right? So boot priority, it is called as, or boot order. It can be of anything. So it depends on the vendor as well. So in this case, it is called as boot priority. In some vendors, it is called as boot order. Even in our VM, it is called as boot order. Okay. So let me show the same thing in our VM, how this BIOS looks. Okay. So just press F2. Actually, okay, let me reboot the VM. So just go here. Okay, yesterday I didn't show you how to suspend your VM. Okay, so suspend is nothing but kind of sleep. Okay, so it won't be fully shut down. So yeah, so always do a suspend instead of shutting down your VM every time. Okay, so that is the thing. So let me restart the image. So this is the BIOS of our VM. Okay, so yeah, this would be the same in your case as well. Yeah, so you have the system time and date and yeah, system memory so these are all the basic things and like advanced chip control. So many things it would be there. So you can even set a password for this BIOS screen as well. Okay, so that is the thing. And you can see this is the boot priority or boot order. Okay, so the first thing is your removable disk and your hard drive. So if you expand this is your hard disk or the bootable drive in which the OS is running. So this NVMe. So while the setup we selected that one, right? So that is the reason you see this. And if you select the SCSI drive, it will be showing here as SCSI or SATA disk like that. Okay, so that is the thing. And the next one, if your hard disk is failing, right away it will boot to the CD-ROM if you are connected. Okay, so in our case, we didn't connected our CD-ROM. So just go to the VM and removable devices, and you can connect your CD-ROM if you need. Okay, so if your hard disk is failing, it will boot to the ISO like that. Okay, so if you select, so don't forget to check this connected box and click on OK. So your our CD-ROM is connected as of now. Okay, so that is the thing. And just press exit and save it. Okay, so anyhow, right away it will boot to the our first in the boot priority. Our hard disk was the first one, right? So that is the one it will be booting. Okay, so that is your boot priority or boot order. It will be following that order only. And if it didn't found any of the boot disk, you'll be seeing this screen. So you might have seen this one, network error. Okay, so what is this screen about? So no bootable device found. So what this means is, so this is actually a network boot disk. Okay, so or network boot way. So what this means is, so if you're connected through a network, so obviously all the peers in that network also can be booting at the same time. So that is a different way of approaching to the boot disk. So that's what that would be the last thing here. So you go back to the boot screen. So you might have seen that boot priority. That would be the last option there. Okay, it did boot it right away. This is the thing. So you need to click inside fastly and yes. Okay, so it will take some time. So that is fine, but that is your network disk. Okay, so like you might have seen this error, like no bootable device. So it is not your device issue. So your boot priority is the issue. Okay, so it might not be the correct way. So that is the reason you would see this error. So yeah, and the next one is yeah. So this is like the explanation what and all is like I just told now it would be there and much more also it would be there. So I'll be sharing this slide anyhow, okay? And again the boot, sorry, the BIOS one, it would be like you can launch from, it depends on the vendor as well. So in some cases it would be F12 or F2. In some laptops it would be F9 actually. So yeah, it depends on your vendor as well. And the next one is your MBR. Okay, so let me just do this one. So this is your hard disk. Let's say this is your CD drive, and lastly to be removable disk or something. Okay, so the first one is your hard disk, right? So that would be the selector. Okay, so the next one would be your MBR. So once you selected your hard disk, so what is MBR then? So MBR is master boot record. Okay, so which means actually there are two ways of approaching the partition style. It is called as, so one is your MBR, master boot record, and the next one is your GPT. Okay, so this is called as GUID partition table. So which means, let's say you are having a hard disk like this. Okay, so if you must consider which one, or the first thing, which one it should be booting. So this hard disk must be, it would be split like a sectors. Okay, it would be a lot of sectors. Just for your understanding, I'm just giving you 4 sectors. Okay, so this would be the first 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so in this case, let's say your first or your MBR would be in the first sector. Okay, so it must locate, right? So let's say, so this is how it would be, your hard disk. Okay, so this IO head, right? So this is called as IO head. So this would read that sectors. Okay, so it must locate the first sector, right? So that is what your MBR would do. And GPT also would be the same, but it works kind of different way. But the point here is both has their own way of approaching the sectors. So that is the difference between these two. Okay, so the partition style would be a different one between MBR and GPT. And MBR is for Linux machines mostly. So even you can create MBR for your Windows as well, but most cases it would be for Linux, and your Windows would have GPT. Okay, so how you can confirm in your case what it would be? So just go to your start and type disk management. So go to your this is my disk management of my Windows machine. Just right click the disk 0 and go to properties and volumes. You can see the partition style is GPT. Okay, so in your case, it might be MBR also. So it doesn't matter. Okay, so but that is important. Okay, so anyhow, as an end user, it won't be much difference could be there, but as per this booting procedure concept, it must be, it is an important thing. Okay, so yeah, so that is your MBR. And the MBR is of small size. And what is, so the first thing is your MBR you selected, okay, this sector it should boot. So what that sector would hold, right? So that is that would be the next question. So it would hold a component, or a small size in, or it would be the important thing actually. So what it should boot next thing. Okay, so it would hold an information called as grub, or kind of a choice for you. Okay, so whether you want to boot to the which operating system. So in your case, you won't. So in our case, we won't have multiple operating system, but in that case also you must go through this grub screen. Okay, so you might have came across this screen. Okay, so like this, right? So not this one. Yeah, like this, Ubuntu or Windows, right? So this is your typical grub screen. So you must choose, like let's say you are having a dual boot, or triple boot is also there. So you can boot multiple versions of the different operating system or the same operating system. You are having multiple boot disk, or so in the, like multiple operating system in the same boot disk. In the same hard disk you are having multiple operating system. So in that case you will come across this one, or so by default you must go through this. Okay, so grub screen. So what is the grub screen in our cases? This is the grub screen actually. Okay, so you need to select whether you need to boot to the, this is the official operating system, and the next one is your rescue mode. Okay, so this we need to choose that. So if you didn't, actually it would time out, right? So either one you need to choose. Okay, so that is your grub screen. Okay, so and yeah, there are many grub screen or many vendors for the grub screens are there, but the famous one is this one. And yeah, so in Windows you might have came across okay, yeah, like this, right? So you might have seen like either you want to boot to Windows 10 or Ubuntu. Okay, so yeah, so that is your grub screen. Okay, so that is what you need to select once you are done with this MDR. Okay, so why you are selecting that? Okay, so why? Because for each operating system, the drivers or your disk, like which disk is allocated to that operating system, many things would differ, right? So moving forward, you are making a choice. Either you want to boot to the Windows one or Ubuntu, if you have that. If not, at least one, if it is there also, you must go through this. Okay, so that is the use of grub. So this is the one. So this is the full form of grub. So Grand Unified Bootloader. Okay, so yeah, even in your Android phone, grub screen is there. Okay, so yeah. Again, this is a simplest way which I am explaining. So we can go too deep and explain. It might take many hours, but this is just for your understanding how and what happens while you press your power button and wait for 1 minute. Your system will turn on, right? So this all happens in the background. Okay, so it might not need your manual intervention, but that's what. So this is what happens in the background. Okay, so it might be Windows 11, your RHEL operating system. Also, you can do in the dual boot, but we are doing in the VM. So since we have much more control over VMware, because right away we can add a component, remove anything you can do here. Whereas in dual boot also you can, but it like again you need to boot the whole driver or any issues it might occur. So I personally avoid dual boot actually. So but you can in your old laptops also you can do that. Okay, so the next thing is here the most important like process or everything would be depending on the kernel. Okay, so what is kernel now? So kernel is like how to say, it would be the holy grail of everything, because so everything or every component depends on the kernel. Okay, so you like let's say your drivers, your disk management, like literally everything. Okay, so your like your tools. Okay, so your applications, the basic thing of your operating system would depend on your kernel. So that is the thing. Like you might have came across a term called as kernel panic. So if there is a kernel panic or if your system goes to hung state, kernel might be a issue, or it might be corrupted, or the disk which is holding the kernel might have an issue. So that's what, like everything would revolve around kernel. Okay, so it is that important to a server or a system. Okay, so yeah, and in your like in your Linux, this is the one. So let me show you. So just press E to edit this one, right? So let me press E. Okay, so you're seeing this one, right? So this fourth line. So this first three lines you can ignore that. So that is not needed, and we won't change this and all. And this fourth line is the most important line. Why? Because you're going to define that what is the kernel you're going to load and what is the boot image you're going to load. Okay, so this fourth line and the fifth line. Okay, so if this line or it can't detect this line, it would be stuck in this grub screen itself, or it like it might stuck here itself. So it will throw some error. So that is the thing. Okay, so your VM Linux with some version. So in your case also it would be the same if you're using my ISO like 8.4 or 8.2. It doesn't matter, but the version it depends on the operating system. So latest might be a different one, but the point here is this is your kernel actually. So VM Linux and this init RAM FS is your boot image. Okay, so and both will be residing under a separate file system. So while we see the file system explanation, we will see that. Okay, so this is your um, um, this one init ramfs dot img. Okay, so that is nothing but like if you flashed any like operating system in your even any operating system, even in your Windows, it would have a thing called as boot image. Okay, so your Android or many would have that. So that is the thing. Okay, so that is a good question. Okay, so why we are going to edit this and like why when we will do that is if you want to go to the emergency mode or that not the rescue mode per se, but this emergency mode, there is a single user mode it is called as. So in the next session, actually, we will do that. Okay, so we will be doing that and reset the root password. Okay, so in that case, we will come to this screen and we will edit or add an option here. And yeah, so in that case, only mostly we will edit this line especially so because this is the important line, right? So there must not be even a typo. So if there is a typo also, it won't even boot. So that is the thing. Right away boot. Okay. Yeah, sorry guys. So there was a network pickup. Yeah. So the thing is that once while the server is booting, it was loading the services, right? So if there is a service down or anything, so that also would be considered in the init process. So the next one is here init. Okay, so again, so please go through this slides. Okay, so this is like a basic understanding or a summarized version of the each component. So each is very huge thing. Okay, so many components would be considered in a kernel. So this is like a toned down version of it. Okay, so just read this. You just need to have a basic understanding. So once you start practicing or doing much more activities in your like once you placed, so you will have much more clarity how the kernel works. Okay, so that is the thing. And the next one is your init process. So what is init? Or you might not came across this one in your Windows, but in your Windows, if you type system configuration and you just go to your boot, and you might have seen this safe boot, or you have much more options here. Okay, so I will just give an example how this works. Okay, so or which screen is this init one? Okay, so easily you might have seen this one. So advanced boot option. Yeah, so you might have, yeah, this one. So you might have came across this screen, right? So in some cases, if your system can't able to boot, you might have came across this screen. So what this means is So you want to boot to the safe mode or safe mode with networking, safe mode with command prompt like that. And these are all related to your Windows, so you can ignore that. But this is the same concept like your init. Okay, this is the the like init process for your Windows actually. Okay, so what you're going to do is here, which way this is kind of an advanced boot option. Okay, so the screen is so which one you need to boot, and let's say you are having some malware or something. So without internet, if you want it to be like so let's say it is connecting to the internet, that malware is sending some of your personal data, right? So how would you remove that malware or that virus, right? So you'd go to the safe mode and uninstall that software or remove that package. So that is how you can easily do that. So this is what you are having in this option. So system configuration, if I check this one and I click on apply, and once I reboot, I will be directly going to the safe boot. And again, you're having multiple options here. So minimal safe boot is there. And again, if you select minimal, there won't be network. Okay, so if you want along with the network, you will select this one, just like this fifth option. And you can even do a no GUI boot. So if you select this one and click on apply and reboot, your system will be direct. It is like your MS-DOS days. Okay, so you will have only this command prompt in your system. Okay, so that is what, yeah, enable safe mode with command prompt. That is how the sixth option would look like. Okay, so that is the advanced boot option in your Windows. That would be the same as in your Linux also. Okay, so again, you have multiple options in your Windows, like load the system services only. So if you uncheck that, it won't load. Okay, so load startup items. So what are the startup items in my case is, yeah, startup apps, right? So this all apps, it won't load if I uncheck this one. Okay, and you have multiple services startup here, right? So that's what many options are there in our Windows, whereas in Linux also is there, but the way it is approached is a different one. Okay, so you have different levels like init 0 and init 1 like that. So we'll see how it works. Okay, so let me finish this one. So much more are there. I'm just giving the basic idea how this kernel, so like your device manager. So device manager, how it works is like just like your, it must get that specific driver, then only it will work, right? So that is how kernel. So that is the part of the kernel. So once if it is not loaded in the kernel, that driver won't be loaded forever. Or again, you need to go to that settings and you need to trigger that. So for that particular boot, it won't be loaded. Okay, so that is the use of kernel. And now we are seeing init. Okay, so the first one is your init 0. So if I, okay, since we are booted, right? So let's go to local VM. So this is the machine which we are booted now. So if I type init 0, so what it would be happening is enter. So let me right away go to the VM. See, it would have been stopped. That's it. Or shut down. Okay, so instead of typing shutdown, you can type init 0. So that is the use of that option. So init 0 means halt or shut down anything. Okay, so again, it depends on. So let me better type it in the notepad. Copy. Yeah. So init 0. Shut down. So next one is your init one is your single user mode. So what does the single user mode means? So single user mode is nothing but a or the emergency mode which we will be booting in tomorrow's session. Okay, so mm, okay, let me just show it right away so that so anyhow I'll explain this one rd.break what that means is. So this is your single user mode or this emergency mode. So in your case, so we can take multiple kitty sessions or this remote desktop sessions, whereas it would be redirecting to the same mission, right? So, but this mode or this one can be accessed only in this console or only in this VM. So that is the reason it is called a single user mode. Okay, so only in the physical or this virtual console only you will be having access to it. So that is the reason in your let's say you are having some issue in your mission, you will be calling a person called as field engineer. So that person would be uh, going to the server and he will connect a display and he will be booting to the single user mode like your console in the console. Okay, so which means only he will have access. So you in your case, so you're accessing remotely, right? It will be like this, it won't even connect. Okay, so that is the single user mode. So yeah, okay, so that is init one. So mostly in like troubleshooting or in weird cases only you'll be using the single user mode. And the most so the init 2 also in some cases it will be useful, but mostly init 3 and init 5 only will be useful. Okay, so init 2 is nothing but as same as this one. So safe mode without internet. So this fourth option. In the fifth option only you will have the internet connection or the network drivers will be loaded. And if you select or click the F4, uh, not like there won't be networking enabled. Okay, so it is the same like yeah. So multi-user mode without NFS. So now you see a different thing called as multi-user. So what is multi-user? It is nothing but and multi-user concept itself is not there in your Windows. Okay, so what is multi-user? So simply I can open the same root user with multiple sessions of the kitty or any remote desktop, right? So that is your multi-user. So the same user or many users also can log into the same mission using the same account also we can do. Okay, so in my case, I have only root user in this case. So I can open multiple sessions also. So this multi-user of it is there in the Windows, but like you can't open the same session twice or for the same user twice. It will like it will come out of or it will terminate the first session. Okay, so that is the thing without NFS or networking. Let's say. So init 3 is the same but with internet. And init 4 nothing is there. So init 5 is called as X11 or GUI mode. So that is what in our mission also it would be init 5 or run level 5. So run level is the next booting option. So you will see that. And lastly, you will have init 6 is to reboot your mission. Okay, so that is how it works. So let me exit this one. So we didn't made any changes here. So let's see. Okay, so what is X11? So X11 is a service, by the way. So X11 is the one which would be responsible for providing the GUI option in your uh, rail. Okay, so you can even take a X11 option or X11 session. Okay, so yeah, so it did boot up. So now let's go to our machine. Okay, so you just type run level. You can see N5, so which is nothing but init 5. Okay, so let me do init 6 and just go to your, yeah, you can see right away the system is rebooted. Okay, so that is your init 6. And our remote session is disconnected, you can see, right, inactive. So once you see this load icon, so you can press down arrow. So you can see the all the services which and all it is loading and all. Okay, so yeah, so this is your init process. And yeah, this is the one. And the same thing, it would be loaded or moved forward to the run level, it is called as. So it would be the same, but if you want to have your own services along with this init process, just like your startup service in your Windows, right? So that is the including our own. So uTorrent is there. So this is a third-party tool, right? So this also should be booted along with my system. So that is what you're meaning by startup apps. Okay, so this is the third-party applications. So just like that, you need to give which run level or what are all the apps it need to be loading while the system is booting, right? So that is your run level. So again, it would be the same. So yeah, yeah, you can see there will be including 0, there is 7 run levels. Okay, so that is what, like, which run level, and if you are selected, mostly it will be run level 3 or run level 5. So you will give multiple. Let's say you want some of the application to be loaded along with the machine, so you would mention it here. So that will be executed along with your init process or along with your system D process, it is called as. So that is what your init would do. So let's say you selected 5 or this 3. Okay, so there is a process called as, okay, system is booted, right? So don't worry about this command, guys. Okay, so I will explain this once you understood this all. So the first process which it will be loading, right? So it is called a system D process. So this is what the most important process. Okay, so if this process is stuck or the system can't access this process, so like your system won't work or it will go to the next state. Okay, so it is that critical, and that along with that process, this all will be loaded. So what all is the services which you are initiating. Okay, so along with your run level. Uh, Sadly, actually, you can't. You can do Yogesh, but in some cases, so like you are in it. So you, okay, that would be a good exercise, Yogesh. So you just go to your AWS if you launched. So just type run level. It would be init 3. Okay, so but yeah, you can change the init or the run levels, but yeah, you do give a try. So in some cases, if you reboot, it might stuck. So if you do a init 6, it might stuck or yeah, you can configure the run level Venkat. Okay, so this is where you will configure that. Okay, so rc.d. So this is the directories, by the way, and you can see different run. So each are different directories, by the way. So you need to give the respective service here. So let's say you have a service of let's say a monitoring tool or a backup tool. Okay, so you will give that service here. So that would be loaded along with your so let's say you selected this run level, it will be loaded along with that. So in my case, rc5.b. So I should go here and then only it will work. So rc5.b. Yeah, I should go here and initiate that or add that exact script link, or we can even create a soft link. Either any of the option you can do. Okay, so yeah, that's it. So once you that run level also is loaded, then only you will see this lock screen. Okay, so it must go through all these steps, then only you can see the screen. Okay, so yeah, along with the system, along with the image. Okay, so I'm just giving one path only. So c.e. So again, don't worry about this path, what is etc and all. So we will see those things in tomorrow's session. Okay. rc.0, rc0.b, and you can give the what and all path you want to 6. Okay, so this is your whole booting procedure, or this is how it mostly works. Where will we do this configuration? Okay. Yeah, it will be done inside the server. So we are logged into the server, Venkat, here. Okay, so we will be doing inside the server only. Okay, so again, most cases we won't do a run level configuration. So there is a init d. Okay, so etc init d. So the same directory only it is there, right? So we will configure along with the init d only. So most cases we in a production server we won't do a run level bootable of applications and all. So init d also does the same, right? So means it will be booted along with this init process, right? So it is the same. So most cases it would be like let's say your backup software or any software, it would be configured here rather than the run level in most cases. Okay, so yeah. And the first thing, actually yesterday we didn't configure the host name. Okay, so in your server also it will be called as local host. Okay, so you need to give a host name or the server name. Okay, um, yeah. So the host name. So just type host name, enter. So it will be called as localhost.local domain. So this is nothing but it is called as FQDN. So many might know this. So FQDN is fully qualified domain name. Okay, so it is nothing but along with the DNS, it is like or the fully qualified name. Let's say you're calling it as let me take some company name. So let's say Microsoft dot CA for Canada or IN for India, like that, right? So you are having a domain name, or that is where it is hosted, right? So .in or anything it can be. So like that, there will be a DNS. So in our case, we don't have our own DNS server. Okay, so but you can create a local domain only. Okay, so again, you need to configure a name for your machine. Okay, so there is multiple ways you can do that. So there is a file called as etc/hostname. Okay, so this is the file. So again, cat. So cat is nothing but to view or uh, print what and all contents of any file in your shell. Okay, so Again, this all will be seen in tomorrow's session, guys. So what is shell and why we are printing in the first place, right? So yeah, so just for the time being, this is what that file, or this is where it is fetching from etc hostname. Okay, so you have a command called as hostname CTL. Okay, so hostname CTL. Let me show you the options here. So if you do hyphen help, you can see all the options of a command. Okay, so you can see set hostname. So we will be setting the a new name for your mission. So hostname CTL set hyphen hostname. So any name you can give. So let me give just logic labs dot local domain. So along with your DNS name you should give, or that FQDN you should give. Okay. So now if you do hostname CTL status. Okay. So now it is changed. Okay. And along with that, you can see much more information. And yeah, so that is your hostname is changed. And as of now, it is not changed here, right? So why? Because so these are all kind of drawbacks of Linux, I would say. It won't change dynamically. When it comes to Windows, let's say you are making a configuration change here, it would do a whole refresh of this section and it will be changed here. Let's say I remove this camera driver or something, it would be instant. Whereas in Linux, it won't actually, unfortunately. So you need to, so this is like kind of a nitpicking, but yeah. So some cases, Linux also has some disadvantages. So yeah. So yeah, Yogesh, I told, right? So the default run level in, like, it depends on which one you are doing. So let's say you are, in our case, we installed a GUI mode, right? So that is the reason the run level is N5. Okay. So if you are like in your production servers, or if you don't want the GUI, your run level will be init3. So here it will be showing us N3. Okay. So which version is this, the Linux interface? Okay, so Venkat, actually, this is a remote connection. Okay, so this is called as Kitty or Putty screen. Okay, so this is like the same server. So this is the actual server. Okay, or let's say you are doing a boot, like let's say you're installing the operating system in your mission. Instead of Windows, you're installing Linux. So this is what you will see. Okay, so what? So let me boot here. So we didn't even boot it, is it? Okay, let's see. So yesterday we opened the terminal and we saw if config, right? So that is actually your mission. So whereas here we are taking a remote connection of this mission. Okay, so there is a difference, but you're again you're part of this mission only. So okay, so let's say you are making any changes here, or you are making any changes in your this screen which you are asking, right? So either way, it will redirect to the same mission. Just that you're opening in a remote session. Okay. So let me just give an example. So this is my uh, yeah, this is the home of the current user home directory. So okay, let me create a dummy file. So let's say logic labs, right? You can see the file is created here. So touch. So as of now, let me create a directory now. So new directory. It will be created here, right? So it is the same mission, just that you are opening in a remote session. Okay, so again, you might ask, okay, we might have done in the terminal itself. Obviously, you can do it here only, but a remote connection has much more options. In my case, I can, like, simply I can copy all the commands which we executed in the session, or sorry, in the session, and I can create a log out of it, or I can copy all to the clipboard and send it to you guys like that. Okay, I can save the session. Many options are there in your remote connection. Okay, and yeah, so in your production servers also, obviously the server would be located in somewhere. Let's say it is in London. So only that field engineer, which the guy who I told, right? So that guy only will have access to the this console. Okay, so in your production servers or most cases, you won't have access to the data center, right? So obviously you have access to your laptop only, your enterprise laptop. So you're just using the internet to connect to that mission, or you're using the intranet. Okay, so you'll be connected to that. Let's say you are working for any company, so that company's network, using that you'll be connecting to that machine. Okay, so yeah, that is how it works, your remote connection. So yeah, is there any doubts other than this one, guys? Yeah, please do try changing the init parameters and let me know when that, okay, in your AWS. In Windows, you'll get the whole interfaces. Ah, okay. So that is a good question. So, so why you're getting the whole interfaces in your Windows? Because that is how it is configured, right? So in this case also you can. So that is what called as this X11 process. Okay, so actually, let me show you. So you can do that using X11 process. Okay, so there would be an option here. Yeah, X11. So X11 forwarding it is called as. So once you enable that, you can take a remote session of the whole GUI also, it will be shown. Okay. And in your case, or the most cases, there would be a centralized controller for your like console. Okay. So let's say it would be like in our case, it is a virtual machine, right? So in some cases, it would be a physical server. Like let's say it is a Cisco machine or a HP server, right? So there is a thing called as HP ILO. Okay, so this is the how to say this is your console. Okay, so using this ILO, you will be logging in and you will be taking a remote session. So there it will be Xlan will be enabled by default and you will be seeing the whole interface, or you'll be seeing this screen basically. Okay, so yeah, that is your X11. And so why we are seeing the like if you take a Windows connection or this RDP, if you are doing, so why you are seeing the whole screen is without that. So obviously it will load that. Okay, so like if you deselect or if you didn't selected that in your system configuration, go to boot, and if you select this one and apply, it won't load that GUI, right? So that is the thing. So it will be a CLI. Your Windows also will be considered as a CLI. So you, by default, none of the systems, even in the production servers, GUI will be enabled by default for a Windows machine. And most cases, it will be CLI for a Linux machine. Okay, so that is the thing. Yeah. So yeah, so if there is no doubts, it's already time. So yeah, I'll be sending this one, and yeah, sending this along with this one. So please go through that and let me know in tomorrow's session if you have any doubts. And please drop an email to me if you're stuck with the like setup of your lab, because moving forward everything we will be using your VMware, or in your case if you are using AWS. Yeah, so if you're stuck or you don't understand how to initiate that, I will take any desk session with you. Okay, so we will connect one on one but you must give me the any desk number. Okay, so let me show you how to do that as well quickly. So just Google any desk and go here. Okay, so click on download now. Again, you need to give me this any desk one. Okay, so or that number which it will be showing here. Okay, it is slow. Okay, just so we will connect one on one, and I will take control of your mission, and we will figure it out if you're stuck somewhere. Yeah. So in my case, this is the address. So like this, in your case, you would have an address. So you just copy this and drop an email to me. We will connect one on one, and we will figure it out. Because many do so didn't download the ISO itself, and they will try to configure this VM. So obviously you can't, right? So your operating system is that ISO. So yeah. So don't hesitate to ask these doubts, because without lab you can't do anything. So that is the reason. Yes. Okay. So yeah. So that's it for the day. So the recording would be shared in the YouTube. Okay. So let me quickly show you or give you the YouTube link. Okay. So let me go to videos. Yeah, this is yesterday's session. So like that, each day's session it will be posted here. Okay, so yeah, and after 5 demo sessions, only for the paid candidates, it will be like you can continue with the sessions, and this is how you will purchase the course. You just go to this link logiclabstech.com, and you can get my course here. And if you want a recorded sessions, like my previous batch course also, it will be here. So if you don't want it to be a live session or you don't have time, so you can buy this course here. So it would be like along with the recording, everything would be there. The notes, recording, everything would be in place. It is just like your Udemy. Okay, so right away you'll get that. So yeah, along with the attachments. So this is the notes. This is your sorry. This is the recording. This is the notes. Okay. So yeah. So that's it for the day, guys. So let's see. Tomorrow's session we'll be seeing the what is shell and what is file system. Very important. After that we'll see the basic understanding of what is shell and why we are typing each commands and stuff. Okay. So what is binaries? Many things we'll see tomorrow session, guys. Okay. So yeah, that's it for the day. Thanks all. Share the downloadable link. Okay. Okay. This is the one, right? So the drive link, it will be okay. Let me send it in even in today's notes. It will be sent. So just yeah, I just sent it now. So yeah, thanks guys. Have a great day. Bye bye. Let's see you tomorrow. Yeah.